You are doing everything right. You show up to work, you pay your taxes, and I mean you actually pay them. Every single year, right out of your paycheck before you even see the money. You try to save, you try to invest a little, and at the end of the month, you are still stressed about money, still watching your account like it might disappear, still wondering why it feels like no matter how hard you work, you never actually get ahead. Meanwhile, Jeff Bezos, a man worth over $200 billion, took home a salary of $81,840 a year for most of his career running Amazon. Elon Musk paid $0 in federal income tax in 2018. Zero. Mark Zuckerberg pays himself $1 a year. $1. And none of them are broke. None of them are struggling. None of them are lying awake at 3 a.m. worrying about a car repair. They are buying yachts and funding space programs and living in a completely different financial reality than the one they report to the IRS. So what is actually going on? Because this is not a coincidence, and it is not illegal. It is a system. And today, I want to pull it apart so you can actually see how it works. Let's start with the thing that is so obvious once you see it that you will genuinely be annoyed nobody explained it to you sooner. The way most of us make money. A job, a paycheck, a salary, is the single most tax-inefficient way to earn in the entire financial system. Every dollar you make from working gets taxed immediately, at the highest possible rate, before it ever reaches your bank account. You do not get a choice. You do not get to time it. The government takes its cut first and hands you what's left. But here is the thing about wealth. Real wealth, the kind that Bezos and Musk and Zuckerberg have, it does not come from a salary. It comes from owning things, specifically owning assets that go up in value. And in the United States, the tax code has one very important rule that changes everything. You only pay tax on an asset when you sell it. That is it. That is the whole trick. Your stock portfolio can double. It can triple. It can go from $1 million to $50 million. And as long as you do not sell a single share, the IRS does not see a penny of it. It is not income. It is not taxable. It just sits there, growing, completely untouched. This is why Bezos took an $81,000 salary for decades. Wages get taxed at up to 37%. His Amazon stock, which grew by billions of dollars every year, got taxed at exactly zero because he never sold it. On paper, he was barely middle class. In reality, he was the richest person on earth. Okay, so they own assets instead of earning salaries. But you still have to live, right? You still need money for the house, the food, the yacht, the rocket ship. If they never sell their stock, how do they actually access the money? This is where it gets genuinely clever, and it has a name: buy, borrow, die. It sounds like a mob strategy. It is actually just how the ultra-wealthy have been moving money for decades. Here is how it works. Buy, you acquire assets, stocks, real estate, a private business, things that go up in value over time. You hold them. You do not sell them. You let them grow. Borrow, when you need cash to fund your lifestyle, buy a new property, do literally anything. You walk into a bank and you use your assets as collateral for a loan. The bank looks at your $10 billion stock portfolio and says, sure, here is $1 billion. And here is the critical detail. Loans are not income. The IRS does not tax borrowed money because technically you have to pay it back. So you just received $1 billion in cash and your tax bill is zero. Let's make this real. Suppose Musk needs $1 billion. Instead of selling Tesla shares and paying capital gains tax, which could be up to 20%, he borrows $1 billion against his shares at a 1% interest rate. He pays $10 million in interest. He would have paid $200 million in taxes. He just saved $190 million by borrowing instead of selling. And his stock? It is still sitting there, still growing, still untouched. Meanwhile, you and I are paying income tax before we even see our money. Die. And this is the part that really closes the loop. When you inherit assets, the cost basis resets to the fair market value at the time of death. Your heirs can sell immediately and owe zero capital gains tax. The entire lifetime of growth, decades of appreciation that was never taxed, gets wiped clean. The loan gets paid off from the estate, and the heirs start the whole cycle over again from scratch with a clean slate. Buy the assets, borrow against them to live, die and pass them on tax-free, repeat for generations. This is not a loophole in the sense that someone found a glitch in the system. This is the system. It was built this way. Let me give you some actual numbers so this doesn't feel abstract. In 2007, Jeff Bezos did not pay a single penny in federal income taxes. He achieved the same feat again in 2011. In 2018, Elon Musk also paid no federal income taxes. Michael Bloomberg managed to do the same in recent years. These are not people who were struggling. These are some of the wealthiest humans who have ever existed on this planet. From 2014 to 2018, an analysis found that Bezos's true tax rate, meaning taxes paid as a percentage of his actual wealth increase, was just 0.98%. The average American pays around 22 to 37% on their income. Bezos paid less than 1% on his growing wealth. And while all of that was happening, Amazon wages for Bezos had long been set at around $80,000 a year, the middle-class level. The salary of someone who might be stressed about their student loans. The salary that gets taxed like everyone else's, because it is a salary, and that is what salaries do. The system is not treating them the same as us. It is treating their type of income differently. And the difference between their type and ours is that they own things, and we trade our time. I can already hear it. This is great, but I don't have a billion-dollar stock portfolio. What does any of this have to do with me? More than you think. The principles behind buy, borrow, die are not exclusive to billionaires. The scale is different, the access is different, but the underlying logic, own appreciating assets, avoid selling them, borrow against them when you need cash, that is something regular people can apply in smaller ways. The most obvious example is a house. If you own a home that has gone up in value, you can pull out a home equity line of credit, a HELOC, and access that cash without selling the house and without it being treated as taxable income. You are borrowing against an appreciating asset. That is the same principle, just with a house instead of Amazon stock. Same idea with a brokerage account. If you have investments that have grown significantly, some brokerages will let you borrow against that portfolio, called a securities-backed line of credit, rather than forcing you to sell shares and trigger a capital gains event. Now, I want to be clear. These tools come with real risks that billionaires can absorb and that regular people need to be careful about. If your assets drop in value, you could face a margin call. If interest rates spike, the loan gets more expensive. These are not magic tricks. They are tools that require understanding before you use them. But the bigger point, the thing I actually want you to walk away with, is this. The wealthy are not just working harder. They are playing a completely different game with different rules on a different board. And the first step to doing anything about that is understanding what game is actually being played. Here is the thing that genuinely bothers me about how money is taught, or more accurately, how it is not taught. Most of us grew up in households where the financial advice was, work hard, get a good job, save what you can, don't go into debt. And that advice is not wrong, but it is incomplete in a way that costs us real money over the course of our entire lives. Nobody sat us down and explained that a salary is the most taxed form of income. Nobody told us that owning assets is structurally different from earning wages, that one gets taxed every year and the other only gets taxed when you choose. Nobody explained that the wealthiest people in the world are not richer because they work more hours. They are richer because they figured out how to make money without technically making money. You are doing everything you were told to do. You are paying your taxes, showing up, grinding it out. And it still feels hard because it is hard. When your income is wages, the system takes its cut first every single time. The goal is not to be angry about that. The goal is to understand it well enough to start making different decisions, even small ones. Buy assets, hold them, let them grow. Understand the difference between income and wealth. That is the game. And now, at least, you know the rules. If nobody in your life ever explained how money actually works at the top, this channel is where we fix that. Not for people who already have it figured out, for people who are figuring it out right now in real time without the head start. Drop a comment. Did you know about buy, borrow, die before this video? I genuinely want to know. And subscribe, because we are just getting started pulling this stuff apart.